For those who feel enough is not enough and failure is not an option, for those, there is Gamma Labs PTF, the next generation pre-workout supplement, a human enhancement formula designed to build a superior athlete.
I cut better promos. I'll probably have a valet.
Yeah.
I'm more adept at jumping off the top of the cage.
I think when you guys call him a professional wrestler, that's maybe some of his opponents have listened to that. This guy's not a professional wrestler. He wrestled. He's a wrestler. And then they say, oh, it's your Olympic wrestling versus a catch wrestler. No, he's a wrestler. Because in order to do all that stuff he does on the ground, he has to get you down. This dude's a wrestler first, man. And I think that's what people don't understand, and people misunderstand that. They think, oh, Josh is over there doing professional wrestling, and no, Josh is a wrestler. Josh takes people down, and then you're in his world. And he submits the vast majority of the people he's fought. Probably like 20 people out of the 30 wins. So he's a wrestler. Don't get confused in thinking that Josh is a professional wrestler. And he's a wrestler and a fighter. And so people thinking, you're fighting a professional wrestler. No, I know better than that. I'm a smart guy.
But Josh, you do call yourself.
I do refer to myself as a professional wrestler in the sense of
you're not doing any knee drops and stuff.
No. But if you think about
professional wrestling, I just watched WrestleMania. I just saw WrestleMania, and what he's doing in the cage is not professional wrestling. Trust me.
I can moonsault.
It's like saying that one dude does jitsu or whatever it is.
Oh, Eve Edwards.
That's what that is.
in the concept of fighting for, what do pro wrestlers do? They fight or for the entertainment of the fans. So I go out there and I compete for the entertainment of the fans. I think of pro wrestling in the sense of what it used to be, when it used to be legit, when you were a top dog amateur wrestler. What would you go off to do? You'd go off to be a professional. You'd learn the catch style. You'd learn submission. You'd have to go against judo players and jiu-jitsu guys and people from all over the world. You'd tour. You'd go to Brazil. You'd go to Europe. You'd go to these different places and wrestle these different people. And I think of professional wrestling. It's got, to me, pro wrestling is two sides. It's shooting, like what we're going to do and what we do in Strikeforce, and it's working, and what you see in the WWE. And at some point there became that great divide, but they both require a tremendous amount of skill. They're both similar and yet different, and I think a professional wrestler should know both sides. Because if you want to go out there and capture everybody's hearts and have them get so invested into a fight to the point that they forget what they're watching, that it is a worked outcome, then you should know what a real fight is like. It's akin to we all know that there's special effects in movies, but we don't go in there and go, that's fake. And we go in there and we watch it, and we want to be pulled into this movie. We want to be taken away to someplace else, and that's what a professional wrestler should be able to do. Also, to the extent of even when they're in there fighting, it's our time to shine. So I always tell people, this is your 15 minutes. Even if it's a shoot, you should make yourself a part of this equation. You're not just some random cog thrown into the machine. You've got a voice, you've got opinions, you've got a personality and a charisma, and all these things that make, whatever your favorite color is, put that on your gear. This is who you are. And I am a pro wrestler, but Daniel's right, I am a wrestler. I wrestled in high school. I went to junior nationals. I did Greco. I did freestyle. I've been working with high-level wrestlers my entire career. It's just at some point I decided to become a fighter and work on that degree while Daniel went and stuck with amateur wrestling and went through college and Olympics and so on and so forth. And I'll tell you, there's a part of me that's I wouldn't say it's jealous, but it's envious, because I think the experiences that he had wrestling in college and wrestling in the Olympics and being a part of that whole thing, I think it's awesome. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I'm a huge supporter of wrestling. I love wrestling. I like wrestling all the way to obviously the submission aspects, but I think high school wrestling, amateur wrestling is bar none best sport out there.
Sid, I sat in my house in 1996 and I watched Kurt Angle, I watched Tom Brands, and I watched Kendall Cross win Olympic gold medals. And I said on that day, I want to give myself a chance to do that. I said, so I want to try and be an Olympian. And he goes, okay. He goes, when you're done, give me a call. And that's what I did. But I watched it all the way through. So in 2001, I was made aware, and I kept an eye on it. I watched guys like Josh compete, and I watch all the guys compete. And then around 2008, right after my second Olympics, I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a try. So yesterday, we were walking back from the Omni Hotel, and we passed by the Olympic Park. You know, and it brings this rush of emotion because that's what I saw. You know, and when on that day, I said, man, I've got to be an Olympic champion. Or I've got to give myself the best chance to do it. So I'm taking pictures at the Olympic Park, and Luke and them are like, let's go, man. Care about this, you know, like we just want to go. We want to get back to the hotel. But I'm standing above it trying to get pictures of the rigs. And I'm looking at the water. Because I sat there in amazement at watching this event on TV. So being here, just that, you know, makes me kind of jittery a little bit, especially with London coming up. And it's just, there's no difference. I mean, I'm sorry, I kind of went off, but there's no difference. There's no difference.
The Olympic trials are coming up.
This weekend.
What do you think? Who do you think will come out of it? How do you think?
I wanted to go. I mean, I kind of got strong-armed here. I wanted to go to Iowa City. I was really trying. I tried, but didn't work out this time. But I think our Olympic team, my choices are Angel Escobedo, Sean Bunch, Brett Metcalf, obviously Jordan Burroughs. He's a world champion last year. Jake Herbert was a world silver medalist. Jake Varner was a bronze medalist last year. And Tervel Delagnev is a two-time Olympic bronze medalist. I think we have the strongest Olympic team that we've had in the United States since the first team I was on in 2004, where we got 2 seconds, a first, a fourth, a fifth, and a seventh out of the 7 weight classes. So I think it's our strongest team. The numbers at the grassroots level has shot up since MMA's become more popular.
Maybe we can
Because
stop
kids
some
are
of those
knowing
programs from getting taken out, you know?
Yeah, college programs.
Yes.
We've got to find a way to stop college programs from getting taken out. But in terms of the grassroots, the kids, it's unbelievable. I tell people all the time that I'm happy my career is going now, because in 10 years we're gonna be in some trouble, because I watch kids doing boxing at 7, kickboxing at 7, wrestling at 7, and jiu-jitsu. That's the dude I don't want to be standing across the cage from in a few years. That's been doing it all that time.
Let me interject something. Today at 3 o'clock, Lorenzo Fertitta came to me a few months ago and said, how do we help save wrestling programs? We're donating $10,000 to Atlanta High School, McNair High School. You know, they don't have a lot of resources. We did a lot of research on this. The coach told us the $10,000 is going to be new uniforms, mats, and the ability for them to go to tournaments and keep the team together. So from the UFC side, everything they're saying is something we believe in strongly. And we are going to be going forward, reaching out to a lot of these high school programs and seeing if we can help them keep it together. This program had 4 kids 3 years ago. They won the county this year and sent 7 guys to state.
See, it doesn't, you
So
know,
pretty good.
And wrestling's
That's
not an
the help.
expensive sport. Wrestling is not an expensive
But it
sport
doesn't
to
have
keep,
the parent
to upkeep.
support,
No.
the
no.
basketball or football.
No,
See?
not at
that
all.
might as be that 10 grand. It equals $30,000-$40,000 in wrestling, because there's just, but you see that type of stuff is what's going to help build the sport. So overall, I think it's helped. MMA's helped. You know, because more kids wrestling, we'll have a bigger pool of kids going into college, and then as they weed themselves out, some will go MMA, and then the better kids are actually go on and compete in our Olympic program. So I think it's helped. More. It takes time. Like, you just put the time in on any sport, and then it'll be fine. And going back to catch wrestling, why hasn't anybody taught me that? I'm a wrestler. How could there be a jiu-jitsu that is wrestling and nobody taught me that?
It's, you know
I'm
what?
like, what the hell's going on?
It was.
Why wouldn't they start teaching me catch wrestling immediately instead of starting teaching me jiu-jitsu? Right? I'm like, what is this? I hear Randy talking about catch wrestling. I'm like, wait. What is catch wrestling? Like, it's jiu-jitsu with wrestling based. I need to be learning that. Get jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, catch was not really the sort of thing that was really around at the time, and especially when I started training catch back in 1996. I got it filtered down through when Carl Gotch went to Japan. He started training a bunch of the professional wrestlers like Antonio Inoki, Sayama, Fujiwara. Well, Fujiwara and Sayama worked with these guys, Funaki and Suzuki, and some of them within the pro wrestling realm. They went off and created Pancrase. Those techniques filtered down to guys like Eric Paulson and Matt Hume, and I got my stuff from Matt Hume. And then eventually trained with Billy Robinson, who was a British Commonwealth wrestling champion, wrestled all throughout Europe, amateur wrestling, and then was trained at the Snake Pit in Wigan, England, learning submission from him. And then I got a little bit of time with Carl Gotch, and also training now and for the last six years now under Eric Paulson, who learned from Sayama, who learned from Yorinaga Nakamura. So that lineage comes down from the Japanese, and then also from the Wiggins side of things, catch. But I remember being a kid and back in the day of fighting and meeting jiu-jitsu guys back then. They're like, "Oh, well, what's your belt?" And I go, "I don't train jiu-jitsu at all." So they just like scoff, laugh, and start snickering, and snot bubbles are coming out of their nose. It's so hilarious. And it's like, okay, well, let's get on the mat, and then go and put a neck lock on somebody and have them scream at you if that's illegal. I go, I don't, and under what rules? And then looking back at old wrestling, I'm sure Daniel's heard it before. Oh, wrist locks are illegal. Well, they're not just talking about this. They're talking about top wrist lock, double wrist lock stuff. There's a video from like the teens, the 19-something, like 1919 or 19 whatever NCAA championships, and guys are wrestling off their back. They're going for double wrist locks. They're looking for different stuff. And wrestling used to have this submission aspect tailored into it, but obviously we've taken that out. And this is just this isn't reinventing the wheel. This is just rediscovery.
For those who feel enough is not enough and failure is not an option, for those, there's Gamma Labs Pre-Training Formula, the next generation pre-workout supplement, a human enhancement formula designed to build a superior athlete. More power, more speed, more endurance, more mental focus, more of you.